Hey guys, welcome back to Release the Craftin. Priscilla here with a little tarot card unboxing thing for you guys, for me, mostly for me. But I'm unboxing another tarot deck with you guys here, and I'm excited. I have my cup of coffee because my voice will eventually give out at some point. But I've been waiting for this deck for a very long time. I've had it just sitting in my, like, 900 open desktop windows on my phone. It's not my desktop, but I do have a lot of windows open on my phone, though. But it's just sitting there just waiting for the day where I'd be like, I will finally pull the trigger. And I did. And I'm excited because I've been waiting for this one for a very long time. So this comes from WeirdWorks, and you can see I spent a good deal of time trying to get this intact off the box. I'm sad that we lost the sword, but some sacrifices had to be made because I was determined to have this. But it's their packing tape, and what? I need like an entire roll of it because that is the coolest shit I've ever seen. So yeah, that's what I did before I got onto camera. My address is on the bottom of the box, so I wanted to make sure, like, I could show you guys without it being like, you know, a potential for stalking, or it's one of those situations where it gets crazy, right? So I pulled this off, and then I pulled the packing slip out from the inside so that I also wouldn't inadvertently reveal my address. But that's it. I haven't looked at anything yet, so let's crack it open. Because I'm excited. I would swear I've never opened this box before. So it's a good box. It's a sturdy box. It took all of my upper body strength. I'm going to move this. Bonus points if you know the reference on my mug. You're going to be one of my favorite people. So we got a thing. And our deck just wrapped up in some bubble wrap. That's pretty nice. I like simple packaging. Especially when it's not like extremely wasteful. Not that I pack things like that, but you know. It is what it is. I'll save that for later. So yeah, look at this. Look at how shiny. So I got the Eldritch Overload Tarot. I don't know if you guys know this about me. I don't think I've ever once spoken about it, but I'm a huge freaking nerd. No, I'm not kidding. You guys already knew that. But I really love cyberpunk and like the cyberpunk aesthetic a lot. Sorry, one of my cats just touched me and then walked away, and that was upsetting. Because I wanted to pet her, but also because I thought it was a bug. Composure. So yeah, I really love cyberpunk stuff. So the aesthetic of this is like cyberpunk themed, and I was like, I must have it. I would love to do like a cyberpunk journal one day, but like there's not a lot of resources for that. So that's one of those things I'd have to like make from the ground up. Oh, look, who came back? So Nico came back. You guys don't get to see her very often because she doesn't really jump on the table, but she is a casually brush up against your leg in a way that makes you think it's a bug, but it's actually just your cat. That's the type of cat she is. But yeah, so it's a fantasy cyberpunk tarot. WeirdWorks has a couple other tarot decks on their site. I will leave the link for their site down below because I think they have some really cool stuff. But a lot of it is like fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons theme type stuff. But like, it's so shiny that I can't. But let's see the bonus thing that we got while I lean over to pet my cat. So we got the Fighter. I think this is from one of their other decks. It says Victory and Defeat. But that's really cool. I love getting a little like sample card for another deck. It's also so shiny. I might need this because I have magpie brain. And look at how cool that is. I really love that. And this is a thick card. So that makes me very excited for what's in this box because this was not one of the cheaper decks that I have in my collection. It wasn't nearly as expensive as the Literary Tarot, but like the reason this sat in my like want to buy tabs for so long was that I was like, ooh, this is a bit of a purchase. But that's cool. I really like that. That's a cool freebie. So I'm going to save that to use somewhere, somehow. And then maybe start stocking the deck that it comes from because that's so cool. And I don't know where my carrot is, which makes me sad. Because we usually use our carrot to open up the boxes here. Okay, Nico walked away. Put my leg back where it was. So look at that. This is so shiny. Like I don't even know if you guys can see the shininess in all of its glory on camera, but it's so sparkly and shiny. And look at that, look at the inside. How cute is that? I wonder if this is one of the cards. Alright, so I did only just get the deck and not the fancy book. There was like an option to get a little fancy booklet with it, so I'm not expecting this booklet to be spectacular by any sense of the means, and it does look like a very standard book. It's very glossy, which I hate. Hate that texturally, but it's fine. I will live. It just feels like touching photos. So yeah, it's a very simple, straightforward book with the meanings here. It does have the reversals and direct, and then it has the like all the suits, which is neat. So it's not like super stylistic, and there's not a bunch of pictures, which I was anticipating, although like sadly, for the amount of money, it would have been nice to get a better book, but like I said, there was an option to buy a fancier book, so I already anticipated that I wasn't going to get a fancy book because I chose to not do that. But here we go. So the box is really nice. Look at that. Like I like that there's like this detail on every part of the box. Is it the suits? It's the suits. How cool is that? That's really neat. Ooh, and then there's a beholder in here. How cool. So yeah, I love the box, and the box fits the cards, and there's no wasted space. So it's one of my favorite boxes now. Alright. So let's drop you guys in closer so you can see all the details. So hold on just a second. Okay, so I did that, and then I made some adjustments to the light, so maybe you can see all the details on these cards really nicely. So we have the Fool, and every bit of this is foiled in that holographic, extra shiny foil. Even the phone. Look at that. How cool is that? And then we have like one of those big like DJ head things, but they're stepping off the stage in a precarious type situation, but it's not like super precarious because it looks like some of these people are ready to catch them. So I like that. I like that's definitely like giving the Fool. And then like here you have like the different dice sides. Like you can see the shapes here. I think that's just the different dices. And then there's some print here. So like cyberpunk is usually typified by having like that blend of like Asian culture, future tech, bright neon colors, those sort of things. So that's what I expect to see as we go through here. But this is really nice. And look, the back of the card also has the beholder, but it's like split. And it says Eldritch Overload. So how cool is that? I really like this. This is really cool. There we go. And then we have the Magician. And I love that, like the cybernetic arm and then her real arm, giving that like balance between like the real, the mechanical, the mundane, the physical, and like the spiritual elements that like the alchemists would bind together to do alchemy. Because that's all I think about when I see magicians is alchemy. So like, I like that. And then they're using all the symbols of the elements here, which is very neat. I don't know what these say. I wish I knew. I hope that it just says the card name. That's going to be a mystery for me forever, probably, unless it says it in the first page of the little guidebook. Let's see. It has some, like, little bit about the story of the deck, like it being in a dystopian future with corporate greed, cybernetic upgrades, neon signs. Those are pretty typical for cyberpunk stuff. And then it tells you, so instead of cups it has potions, swords, wands, and coins. But it doesn't tell you what those things say. So there's just some tarot spreads and it gets right into it. So yeah, I'm going to assume in my brain, logically, that these symbols are at least representing like stuff that's on the card, or at least the card name itself. Because they're different on each one. But yes, this is very neat. The shininess of this is giving me everything I could ever want possibly in the world. And then we have the High Priestess. And I love her. She's like a robotic owl woman. How cool is that? The little triple moon symbol. The moon is so shiny. I don't know if you guys can see that. That is so cool. I love this. I love this aesthetic already. I already love the colors. The colors are fantastic. And then here we have the Empress, and she's like a multitasking queen. I love that she has this like pomegranate, and it's like computerized. But it's this really great blend of like plant life, nature, and then technology like working its way together. That's perfect for an Empress card. And like she's just balancing and juggling all these things at once. It's definitely giving like motherly without being like here's a pregnant woman mother. Like she's handling a lot of things, balancing a lot of things, nurturing stuff, taking care of things that grow, that kind of bit. Some of these plants are beginning to look like they might be sentient or alive. And then here we have the Emperor. And it's giving big bad corporate daddy, which is interesting and okay. I like that. You can see like how different, like what a juxtaposition it is from the Empress to the Emperor card. And I do like when they have a good juxtaposition. I also like that the color schemes are different too on this. Like that's really neat. But those work really well, like in conjunction together. And then here we have the Hierophant. And like, look at that. That's terrifying. But like in the right ways. And like you can see like she looks really sad, but then she looks like really reverent. Fearsome. Very cool. And then here we have the Lovers, and look at this. Look at her ribs. How neat is that? This one's a little bit dark, like the card is really dark. A little bit harder to see than I would prefer. Probably because they're naked. Although she looks like she's in tights. But he's got like his cybernetic leg. They're laying in this like mess, but they're all plugged into this like virtual space. You can see here, so it gives that like temptation, being like lost in like your passions and not really paying attention to what's happening in the world around you. So it's definitely getting that point across here. But also it's like, it's really sweet, like little romantical moment between these two as they're preferring to spend all their time together. Maybe even to their own detriment, but like it's a good card. I like that. I love this. This is the card that made me go like, I have to have this. It was in the preview for this deck, and it's the Chariot. And I don't normally like love Chariot cards. They don't really stand out to me, but this one stood out to me because it's replicating that scene from Akira. And that's like an old, really iconic anime if you've never seen or heard of Akira, but this was very significant to me and I was very excited about it. So I was like, oh, I have to have this because not only is it cyberpunk, but it's also anime, and that's really neat. Also, like the building design back here is giving like Tron, which is also pretty cool. So yes, I love that. I love that so much. And here we have Strength. And I love that she's in this like iridescent, like holographic see-through type outfit. That's really neat. With this tiger that is also pretty cool looking. And you can see like the mandala in the background giving that like serenity, that peace, but also the infinity symbol still made its way in on her goggles. So that's really neat. I love the colors in this deck. They are so pretty. And then here we have the Hermit. And the Hermit's kind of doing the same thing the Lovers were doing, but like by themselves, which Hermit's got a Hermit. And that's neat. And you can see the Hermit has had a lot of modifications done to sort of support this lifestyle, which is very interesting. That there's a lot of cool like symbolism back here with the pentacles. And that eye, like the loading eye, is also kind of like watching. And then like, instead of having a torch to light their way, you have the light of the screens, which is also a very cool detail in this card. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is giving like future game show, but deal with the devil a little bit. And you can see like how sparkly it looks. It's all very jazzy looking on the TV screen. But it's a little insidious. Like she's cast in a shadow here. And he's clearly the devil. So, you know, the option could be death. It could be a bunch of fortunes. So I like that. I love that it's like sort of bringing forward the little bit of the darker elements of the Wheel of Fortune. And then we have Justice. And she looks badass. I want these pants. Look how cool that is. Like, there's not a lot I can add in commentary to this because it just definitely gives fighting for freedom, justice type things. There's the Libra for the scales. So you have that balance there, like there, which is neat. Alright, sorry. Had to pause to take a drink. Then we have the Hanged Man. And you can see, like, the way that he's dressed up here, this smiley face is giving Ghost in the Shell a little bit, which is also another anime. So there's a lot of, like, anime influences in here, which is neat. But, like, the way that he's dressed in this situation sort of gives to the idea that, like, maybe this little act of martyrdom, this, like, is, like, more of a protest than just a, like, unfortunate circumstance. Or, like, unfortunate cause, like an accident or something. Like, this is an intentional piece meant to be in protest. And then, like, that eye came back in here with this motif, and then even, like, their graffiti adds to this, like, idea of rebellion, which I love. This deck is giving lots of rebellious vibes, and you can see why, because Death is literally a police robot. So, like, yeah, this is a little bit scarier of a Death card than I think I'm used to, too. Because usually it's just, like, here's a skeleton, but, like, now it's a skeleton as a police, and that's upsetting. With 4 arms, already trained to kill their next target, even though they're already holding on to somebody here. And, like, inadvertently maybe starting another rebellion, because, like, Death is usually the card that symbolizes the end of things and transitional times and stuff like that. So when, like, you're looking at this in this particular setting, it's like the end of, like, this movement, but it might be actually stoking the flames for something bigger. And then we have Temperance. So we have this, like, science guy who's mixing, like, his little formula of the waters, finding a good balance and ratios to make his little experiments work. I really love these cards, guys. Like, they're so shiny, but, like, the card back itself is very matte, so the colors show up really well. And they're not, like, super vibrant. Like, they're not, like, neon bright. Like, I know this looks really bright. Her coat is really bright, but, like, everything else is, like, a very subdued color palette. So I really love that. And then I even like the way that, like, the light on this table is reflecting on his arm. So you can see, like, the different colors there. There's a lot of, like, mindful, like, thoughtfulness at play in these cards. And I like that. Everything seems very intentional. So here we have the Devil card, and we have another one of those bright color schemes. This color scheme matches the Wheel of Fortune a lot. And it's really interesting. So, like, you can see, like, all these temptations in the background. This sort of monstrous creature here. She's playing this off like it's a game, but this guy's, like, stuck in this chair, like, just wasting away. In his house shoes, even. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then we have the Tower, which is giving Sauron, but also future Sauron, which is a little bit more terrifying. But that's really cool. That's a really cool, just genuinely very nice Tower card. I do like that it looks like a high-rise, like business building, because it's going with the whole theme of the deck. But yeah, it's giving Eye of Sauron. I can't really say much about it. I like the way that the lightning looks. It also looks like it's making, like, the runic symbol for Raido, which is, like, movement and that kind of thing, which is being evoked in, like, the imagery that we're seeing in the card. And then we have the Star, which is giving the Morton Salt Girl. Like, look how cute that is. And, like, I like that her shadow is cut out of this puddle of water. So it looks like she's, like, in the starry sky as well. That's a really neat depiction. And then you can see, like, there's the tower in the way background. You can see the little eye back there. So it's all, like, in the same city. Everything's connected, and I really like that. This one's really pretty. And then we have the moon. And look at that. The moon's been, like, destroyed. So it's, like, falling apart. This one is really bright. Like, even in person, I'm looking up because it's catching a lot of the light. It's a really bright card, but it's really cool. I really like that. And then here we have, like, these, like, mutated, cybernetic, like, blended creatures of, like, the wolf dog creature and then the crab scorpion creature you usually see coming out of the water in the moon. And then this terrifying apparition of like chromatic aberration, computer like error, but also shadow monster, which is making this a lot more menacing than it was before. This might be the scariest card on the deck. Like, I take back what I said about the death card, because this is upsetting. And then we have the sun. Look how pretty. This is so bright. I love the yellows. They don't use a lot of yellow in these, like, or I haven't seen a lot of yellow, let's say, so far in this deck. But this just really stands out. So when they use the yellow, it really pops. And this is a Kirin, which is a beast from, like, Chinese mythology. That's supposed to be, like, even more precious than, like, the unicorn would be. If you're familiar with, like, European mythology, like, they're, like, nature driven spirits that protect the forest, kind of thing like that, but also, like, super precious and, like, very pure type of things. And having it represent the sun is a very cool choice. And I think it gets across that, like, wild abandonment, joy, freedom type of vibes that the sun card gives off. And that's just really pretty. I really like this card too. And then we have Judgment. And we have a scene right out of X-Men. This is like Friends of Humanity jerk. This little keep humans pure racist. There's some cybernetics is sin. So definitely casting judgment on all these people who have, like, these upgrades and these mutations and stuff like that. So that's just really, that's like a very straightforward, very realistic type card. I don't really, like, have to think about what they mean by judgment looking at this card, because I think we can all kind of relate to this, even in this, like, regular modern times that we're living in. This is not an old concept. And then we have the World, and it looks like they have Cthulhu in a jar. So Eldritch Overload for real. This is a bad idea, guys. I can already tell you. But look at all the waves. Like, that's so neat. I think they really optimize the use of, like, foiling with these cards in a way that just comes across as really, like, cool, but also enhances the artwork a lot, because it does look like this is, like, swirling around inside the water. But then look at these, like, insidious scientists, and, like, hold on. Is that his brain? Or are they just offering a brain? Did they take out Cthulhu's brain? I don't know. That's a really cool card for the World. And then we're going to move into the suits. So I'm going to go a little bit faster because I like to spend more time on the majors and then sort of whip through the minors, because it will be here for a bajillion years if I don't. So that's the formula. So we have the Ace of Wands, and again, that the use of yellow is really, like, popping against these, like, sort of, like, 80s Technicolor backgrounds. These, like, purples and pinks are really good contrast for the yellows and the oranges and stuff they're using. And the blues, like, there's a lot of contrast here, and I really like it. But look at how pretty this is, with, like, the cherry blossoms blooming here, and this, like, that's where I'm getting that, like, old, like, 80s style motif. I've lost all words, so I'm sorry for that, guys, but this is a really cool card. Then we have the Two of Wands. You can see, like, all the advertisements taking up the space, and, like, the longing look out of the window. That's really cool. And then the Three of Wands, it looks like she's moved away from, like, the biodome of the city and is trying to, like, you know, refarm and reclaim the earth. And I love that the wands have become, like, the growing post. It looks like a cybernetic leg here. That's really cool. I really like cyberpunk stuff like that, because it has, like, a very interesting spin on, like, how disability is treated, and, like, being able to, like, provide prosthetics to people who have lost limbs and, like, functionality in their body is, like, a really cool concept that we should be focusing more on in the present instead of waiting for it to happen in the future. But I do just like being able to see that sort of representation in the cyberpunk genre. And here we have the Four of Wands, and they're having an absolute rage. Like, this is a banger. This is a party in a warehouse, and they're having the best time. And I like that it's very shadowed, and it's only, like, the play of light that we're seeing back here is like adding to the balance, like between the pink and the blue, but also like the light is also coming from all the shiny foiling that they did, which is just really adding to like the way that those shadow silhouettes like pop in there, and I love that. That's a really cool idea here. And then this was the inside of the box, of the box top. So this is the 5 of Wands, and it's just like all these cool little like mutated little creatures and fantasy creatures watching this kid play games. Like they're having the best time, and I love that. That's so cute. That's so shiny. I will never get over that. That is so cool. And then we have the 6 of Wands, and they're doing this like interview, and the wands are all the microphones with this like K-popified future idol, which is very neat, very cool. And then we have the 7 of Wands, and like the wands are being used in direct conflict here, which I think is really good. It's a really good like aspect for the 7, and that like having to defend yourself and stand up for yourself kind of thing. That's a really cool one. This is the 8 of Wands. Can't say this is my favorite. This is a very, very simplistic view, but it is one of the cool like signs that tend to take place in a lot of cyberpunk like scenery. They get a lot of these really cool neon signs and stuff, so it is interesting. It's not my favorite card, but it is an interesting card, so it does the job. And then we have the 9 of Wands, and we have this girl with like her battle dog droid, and she's like recently lost her arm, it looks like, because there's little sparks shooting out, so she's like just at the end of her battle maybe, and these are all her victories, so I love that. She looks pretty cool. And then we have the 10 of Wands, and look at this little crow guy. Look how cute he is. He's so like bogged down like with all of his work. And he's got like all these like stuff on his mind, and it's really weighing him down. Look at how low his head is. He's like, oh my god. Can I clock out, please? But also like he's got this like IV drip bag, so like it's like he's stuck there. Like he has to keep working, or all this stuff will like descend on him, and he can't leave until it's finished. And like, yeah, that's I feel that every time I clock in for work too, bud. But that's a really funny card. And then we have the Page of Wands, and it's giving gargoyles. It's giving gargoyles. Her face is a little bit hard to see in person, but I can see it better on the camera, which is interesting. But I think it's just the fact that they foiled her teeth, sort of obscures her face a little bit. But yeah, we have like cybernetic gargoyle girl, who's also magical because she throws fire. And then there's that eye again coming back through, always watching. And then she's dropping lights. I don't know what this part is. It's interesting though. It's an interesting card. It's a very like action forward card for a page card. Like a very action forward design, which is interesting. And then we have the Knight of Wands, and we have this like masked, like, I don't know, like a Fury, like a Fury bike rider. It's giving Ghost Rider, which is neat. I also love that battle axe. That's pretty cool. So that's cool. And then we have Queen of Wands, and look at her. She's just so regal with her cat, with her little cat armor. I love that. I also love her chair. Like it's like a bird body. Like there's tail, wings, feet, more tail feathers. And she has like giant owl guardian and really cool wall decor. But also a lap kitty. And she's giving like very tranquil, very balanced, very like aware and competent. And then like she's using like a pen. It's like a fountain dip pen, so like pen is mightier than sword imagery. But I love her little guard cat. His little like prosthetic paw. And like look at the way he's looking at her. And then looking at the lap cat. Like that could be me. It was me, you fool. In the before. But in the now, I'm the guardian. I'm gonna write a whole story about this cat. I love this cat so much. And then we have the King of Wands, and we have a little, like, Dragonborn. But, like, it's Steve Jobs Dragonborn. Because he's, like, showing off this technology. There's a little logo on the technology. And, like, showing it and sharing it to everybody here in the audience. So definitely giving, like, tech giant sharing their accomplishments, which is in line with the King of Wands. That's pretty neat. And then we have the Ace of Wands. This is very pretty. A genuinely very pretty card. The Ace cards are really pretty. Or at least they have been very pretty so far. But this is Ace of Potions, so now we're in Cups territory. And I love that. That's a really pretty card. And then we have the Two of Potions, and these guys are sharing their cups. Having this little romantical, maybe not romantical exchange. There's Audrey hanging out there. And another cat who might be in danger. That's potential. Maybe you guys should stop looking lovingly into each other's eyes and pay attention to your cat. And then you have your little dodecahedron back there, which is neat. And then we have the Three of Potions, and these girls are having the best time. I just placed specifically for them, so they are definitely getting that party vibe, like community sharing aspect, best friends. Also like the plus size representation here, very cool. And then we have the Four of Potions, and she has her potions here. She's getting another one delivered, and she just looks so unsatisfied. I love her haircut. She looks so unsatisfied though. Just focused on the don't-haves and the things that aren't enough, even though she has all these things in front of her. So that's a really good representation of that card. And then we have the Five of Potions, and we have this waitress about to lose her tip, unfortunately, because she's going to spill all these drinks on these guys. These guys are really funny looking. Like he's making kissy faces at her while she's like fumbling the tray. How funny is that? But that's a fun card. They're definitely getting a little bit like more creative with like the card design into the suits than they were in the majors, which I'm not like upset about. I do like themes and things being across the board, but I like that like the world is expanding a little bit when we get into the minors. So we have the Six of Potions. And like, is he a dealer? Which one is the dealer? I think he's the dealer. That's what it's looking like here. They could just be friends too, but like, you know, this looks very back alley deals. There's a trash can back there, so I feel like some below board stuff is happening. And then we have the Seven of Potions, and it's a bunch of skincare and like prescriptions, skincare and prescriptions, and some hand sanitizer. Which is interesting. That's an interesting choice. I don't know if it would be my first choice, but I guess, like, you know, there has to be one in every set that I go, I don't like this. But, you know, it's okay. Then we have the Eight of Potions. I like that this is in rainbow color order. I find that very satisfying. And, like, this little, like, scientist, like, goblin who has fallen asleep amidst all their hard work. And is dreaming of the eye. I'm really not going to get past that Sauron reference. And then we have the Nine of Potions. Circle Fae Potions for a price. And this is, yeah, this is definitely giving that. Identification scan. There's some energy stuff here. It's giving, like, convenience store, pharmacy. But also, like, choose wisely. Can you imagine if the Fae had a storefront? Like, ooh. I don't know if I would buy into that. Aww. This card made me sad already. So we have the Ten of Potions, which is, you're representing that, like, happy family vibe here. These are, like, digital eights. Or are they meant to be, like, something else? I don't know. So you have this, like, happy family. They could be little pills. Because this looks like it's, like, ask your cleric about Faminofen 10 milligram tablets. So it's like a prescription drug commercial And then there's this little, like, sad homeless goblin guy. Like, right in front of this happy family motif. Which is a little sad. This is a sad card. And we have the Page of Potions. And we have this, like, wolf guy who's stealing something. The page cards are being very actiony, and I'm not upset about that, but it's an interesting choice. Interesting choice. I also like his, like, light up knife. I want it like a lightsaber knife. That seems pretty cool. He also has, like, an ear piercing, which is funny. But it's really cool. I like that. And then we have the Knight of Potions, and she's on her little scooter, but she's also wearing armor. And that is really funny. It is really entertaining to me. Also, she has a sunfish logo. I don't know if you guys can see that because it's shiny, but she has a little sunfish logo on her little Vespa. And that's really cute. This is a cute card. And then we have the Queen of Potions. And she's getting very ethereal. Like, look at that. Very misty, ethereal. These, like, extra faces adding to, like, the facets of her personality. Also giving that emotional depth, because there's that balancing between the colors. That's been, like, a motif we've seen throughout the deck, but also in this suit a lot. There's been a lot of that juxtaposition between the pink and the purple, and the blue, I mean. And got the little symbol for water here. That is very cool. And then we have the King of Potions. And then, so, like, for this one, this is, like, a lot more, like, down to earth. She's got, like a crab bot here. But, like, in that mechanical space again, so more in the head space than, like, the emotional heart space of the Queen. So I'm really liking the way that they're making these, like, side-by-side cards, like, line up. It's very cool. But I like that a lot, because this looks like more of a mastery of self, whereas the other one's more of, like, a being confident and collected with your emotions. And then we have the Ace of Swords, which is very nifty. I like the snake. It's, like, vaporous, which is neat. You get, like, the more, like, the little vapor back here, too. So that's very cool. We have the Two of Swords. You're getting, like, a very classic, like, Sailor Moon vibe, pose, like, anime pose, with the two swords. So that's very cool. I really love that. We have the Three of Swords, which will always be a stab in the heart, no matter how it is. But it is very cool. I like that the heart is, like, biomechanical, hooked up to the machines. And then that there's, like, traditional blades in here, and also, like, a future sword in there. So that's pretty neat. We have the Four of Swords. We have this, like, dwarven, like, techno lord here, just miserly sitting over all of his swords. And then we have the Five. And it looks like, oh, she's crying after, like, a little conflict, maybe a breakup. Like, love is a battlefield type of thing. So I like that. And oh my god, I don't like that. I don't like this at all. So we have the Six of Swords, and it's a chest burster. And I don't like it. Also don't like this creepy Jabba the Hutt knockoff back here. Is that your baby? How did it get in there? I don't want to know. But sign me up for the movie if it ever comes out, because I would love to see the movie. That's upsetting. Also, his shirt is so dirty, and that's also upsetting to me. And then we have the Seven of Swords. And this little goblin girl make a break for it. Like, she stole all these swords, and she is running. And they're chasing her. You can see the spotlight here, which is a very good use of that color yellow again. But I love her. I support her rights and her wrongs. I hope she makes it away. And then we have the Eight of Swords, and this is so good. This is so good. So you have this, like, robotic spider that's, like, tying her up. It's also a little Shibari-esque, which is an interesting choice of not work to use for this. But, like, you can see, like, the zeros and the ones, like, the binary matrix coding in the background. So this might be just happening in the digital space. So, like, the question is, again, with the Eight of Swords, did she put herself there? Is she being trapped by her own limitations and beliefs? Or is this something externally happening to her? And I like this card a lot. This is really good. I also think the spider design is really cool. So that's a really cool card. And then we have the Nine of Swords. And this one's a really dark card too. I do like the use of shadow in these, but some of these cards are at the point where like they're so dark they're a little bit hard to see. I think it's easier to see in person. Maybe with the right angle you guys can see it on camera. But it just looks like a warrior type person with horns. And being like bogged down by all the swords, which is very common for the Nine of Swords. I don't know if this is my favorite representation of that, but it is a good card. It's not my least favorite card. The Chest Burster was upsetting in this set of, in this suit. The set of suits. This suit set. That's what I meant. And then we have the Ten of Swords, which is this guy who's definitely lost the battle. Maybe been betrayed even, because that's a lot of swords to just stab into somebody and then leave. Like, you're making a point. You're making a statement there. So, yeah, he went down hard, for sure. And then we have the Page of Swords. And this is more what I was expecting from page cards. It's got the sword element in there, so it looks actiony, but it's not as actiony. Because usually page cards aren't typically very action-driven, because it's the job of the knight to be, like, the action center of that. She's also got, like, a Hannibal Lecter mask on, which is interesting. Like this little fan motif, also interesting, but it looks like she's like training. She's in like a training arc on top of a building. But why the Hannibal Lecter mask? Like maybe it's one of those fencing masks that's supposed to protect her face, but it is giving Hannibal Lecter. And then we have the Knight of Swords, and look at this little bird person. Look how cute. I love him. I love them so much. And a little tiny knife, but it's actually attached to this, but it looks like a very tiny knife. But it is part of this holographic knife. So this would be probably one of those scenarios where, like, not foiling this would have come in handy, because it took me a second to put all that together with my brain. But I see it. Flying through the air. Like, around the city. The city's in the background. That's a very cool card. It's very cute. And then for the Queen of Swords, we have this girl who looks like she's been in quite a few fights. She's already very confident in her skills. She's got her little fancy cat here. And she's like, you could fight me, or you could just let me guide you. Maybe she's the one doing the training. Like, she's on the other end of that building. Although she looks like she's inside. So maybe she's inside, and she's like, you go out there on the roof, and you train, and then I'll tell you when you're done. She looks very confident. Very capable, and I like that. And then we have the King of Swords. And that's so interesting. That's a really interesting design. So he's wielding like a lightsaber sword, an actual sword, and like a techno sword. Like one made of light that isn't a lightsaber. But in a very confident way. Also, those pants are very low. Very low. And I need to consider things about myself as I'm looking at this. But this is a very cool card. I like it. It's a really pretty card. And this is more like show-offy than like the calm, like collected confidence of someone who's like been around the block before. This seems more like I trained forever and I've never had to test my skills, as like I built my skills through like actual real life conflict and warfare. So the last of the suits, we have the Ace of Coins. This one's pretty. It's not my favorite of the ace cards, but it's definitely not my least favorite card, because it's giving like all the little jewels and like riches that sort of are associated with the coin suit, with the pentacles suit. It's just not as shiny and like, well, it's shiny, but it's not as like fancy as the other ones were. And then we have the Two of Coins, and it says life support, terminating, insert 2. Sorry, this is hard to read. Scythe Gold to continue. So it's like a video game, and then there's like ads in the background, error codes, messages, all sorts of things. So that's interesting. It's an interesting way to represent like that balance that you usually see with the Two of Pentacles. Because I mean, they have the whole infinity symbol here, so it's getting that across, but also how like imperative the balance is you have to continue to feed into it in order to survive. I don't know if this is my favorite design, but it's not my least favorite. Then we have the Three of Coins. And it looks here like they're planning to take over the church, like to take down that scary Hierophant. So we have more of those like symbolic representations of rebellion, which is interesting. I like that it's carrying through. And also, like, you can see the different hands representing the different types of people working together. And then here we have a little Greedy McGreederson with his scythe coins, I guess. His little scythe gold, sitting on all of his little tokens here. But he looks like he's outside in the garbage heap. Like, you know, outside of the building. Just sitting on the little wealth he has, but not actually enjoying it or using it for its intended purpose. And then here we have the 5 of coins, and look at these sad little people. Like, so here's like the church, and you can see how like well it's lit and how nice the window and everything is. But right outside, it's all piled up with this all this trash, and then these like sad like people that he needs a new foot. And like, you know, they could use some of this help, some of this wealth, but they don't have it. They're on the outside. And then we have the 6 of coins, and we have this very like sharing tiger person. Tiger person is kind of cute. Kind of a cutie. Sharing the wealth, which is interesting. And I do like that. I'm very interested in how this little life support system here works, or what the purpose of this is. But it's very interesting to see them dispersing their wealth happily, it seems. So maybe, like, he managed to work his way up out of the slums and is coming back to share his wealth, which is cool. And we have this 7 of coins. And I think this will win for the card I don't like in this suit. Because I don't like it. It's usually represented by, like, somebody working very hard to, like, build up their skills and establish, like, their trade or their craft. And it's got a computer arm doing it. And it looks like the computer arm is a little stressed. Like, it's been doing it for a lot of time. So it's having a bit of a hard time keeping up, maybe. So I don't think it's getting the same, like, feeling across. But also, like, automation versus handmade stuff is, like, a whole different conversation. And see, like, here we have it. We have the juxtaposition of this 8 of coins, where she's doing the work by hand, but her hands are also replaced by, like, robotic upgrades. And she doesn't look happy about it. She doesn't look happy. It looks like they did this to her to keep her working. Although she might be very skilled at smithing, it does look like some sacrifices were made to get that skill. And then we have the 9 of coins. And here we have her with all of her wealth just on display. And her cool, like, cybernetic bird friend to share. It's interesting that her wealth is also on her boobs. Just an interesting choice all around. But she's pretty cool. I like that. She's also standing in a bunch of filth, though. So I think that's an interesting choice for this suit, is to have, like, all the wealth juxtaposed against, like, the griminess of the underbelly of the city. And then for the 10 of coins, we have this, like, feast of wealthy elitists. There's a dragon on that picture in the background. That's kind of cool. But yeah, these guys look like very wealthy elitists, having this opulent feast, while we just saw all those people starving and struggling in their various ways. So it makes this a little bit more insidious of a card than it typically is. Because it's usually a very joyful card of, like, sharing what you have and your abundance with your community and kind of stuff like that. Which it could still be that, like, it still represents that. But just watching, like, the story unfold through the suits makes this card a little bit darker than I think it's normally intended to be. Not that that's a bad thing. It goes along with the story of the deck. It's very interesting. I'm waiting for the purge to happen, though. Like, purge time. Because what? Here we have the Page of Coins. And it looks like, he's like, oh, he's a pawn shop owner. I was going to say, he looks like he's a jeweler, but he's a pawn shop owner assessing the value of these gems that have been brought to him. They're also in the same dice shapes, it was a nice, like, tie-in. And you can see, like, the value being calculated here. So that's very interesting. And then we have the Knight of Coins, and we have another cool, like, motorcyclist. This says... I can't read it. It says Cholt fried cockatrice. So it's like an advertisement for food. There's some ramen noodle logo on the top here. So they're looking through like ads trying to find a place to go eat. Little burger place back there. The bike might be having some trouble. This is a very interesting card. I like the helmet. The helmet design is cool. And then we have the Queen of Coins, representing like all the earthly aspects of it. I do like this like dot pattern on the background, making it look like maybe this is like a hologram and not actually there, or like a special like cybernetic type door, like stealing the plants away from the rest of the space. And then she has little like unirabbits, which are cute. But she's wearing a lot of green, this very large like opulent dress, just like displaying her wealth. Very extravagant, very earthy. I like it. Really pretty. These bunnies are really cute. And then we have the King of Coins, who looks a bit like Data from like Star Trek. And then you have like the bull, like the Wall Street bull. And then like the way that the wealth is on display is different, like from her having all this lush greenery and like those kind of things. Somebody just knocked on my door and scared the life out of me. I'm gonna ignore it because I'm on the last card. And then I don't know what this is supposed to represent, like the stalks maybe? But a very cool card, very good card. So I really do like the deck. I think it's really pretty. I'm interested to work with it and see kind of what kind of working relationship I'll have. It's so shiny that I find that to be like very satisfying, but also a little bit distracting. But I don't think it's going to be like a problem in the long run. But yeah, this video ended up being a bajillion times longer than I wanted it to be. So I'm going to jump off here. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate your faces. Let me know what you guys think of the cards in the deck down in the comments below. And I will catch you guys all in the next one. Till then, happy crafting. Bye!